Welcome everybody. I know I usually say welcome back, but if this is your first time checking out my channel, welcome back. Many videos for you guys to peruse, and I have them all divided in playlists, so if you can check out my how-to videos, which this one is, there's a playlist for that, etc. Now, to get started really quick, as you guys know, we are going to be honing a Japanese razor, a Kamisori. This one is I had never honed this one. It's knife sharp, I guess, but I hope this comes out in the on the video. So before we start sharpening before we start honing this razor, we need to make sure that we have a even edge. So I'm about to do something that a lot of you are not going to be happy with, but let's put it, it's upside down. If I put this razor as such, very gently on the edge, I can see light through in some areas. It is not entirely even, it's not a straight edge, and you can see why. Maybe you can hear the hone wear is uneven, completely uneven, and then even on the edge, hopefully you guys can see, I'm going to start rolling it very slowly, is uneven quite a bit. So it seems that there's like 3 bevels in there, so this one should be a fun one. I was planning to do this in one spot, and I just grabbed this Kamisori from the box. I have several that I have not touched yet. I guess I should grab another one. But guys, I'm probably gonna be dividing this in 2 or 3 videos. But first, before we start honing and getting into the ratio, and for you guys that have not ever honed one of these, I'm trying to make it as basic as possible. A Kamisori is quite different than a regular razor, as it is not it is kind of concave. There's a reason, some reasoning for these. Legend has it that because women used to shave their husbands, that they only need it in one direction, and they will shave the entire face, and so therefore it is kind of like a chisel. Alright, so there is a ratio of how many laps or how many passes you do in one side versus the other one, and we're going to be doing that. But before we do that, we have to fix this mess up that I have back here, and for that we're going to be using Shapton, and I think this one's like a 350, 325, and I usually don't go this low on razors unless they really need it. And yes, I had it soaking in there, not intentionally. I mean, it's just because you can splash and go, but I usually, sometimes I like to put water in there so I can just do that, right? Always have a towel. So what we're gonna do is, I am not gonna use tape. This is my personal razor. I think this one's actually in Etsy. But you guys can check out my Etsy store. Subscribe if you like this kind of videos. So what we're gonna do is re-establish that whole shenanigans that we got back there. So we're just gonna place her flat, and I can feel there's some rocking on it. Yep. Alright, and we're just gonna go back and forth, and I'm not putting any pressure. I'm just letting the stone do its thing. Yep. Alright, man, this stone is really fast. So in my experience, Kamisoris, a lot of the Kamisoris I dealt with have very soft steel. This can be good, and it could be bad if I guess. But so all we're doing right now is making this edge nice and straight. So right now, see how we're doing. See how we're curving there? This is kind of like doing a wedge. At times you're not going to be able to get in the center there, because even if it's flat, it still has a little bit of a dip, some of them. But right now we're looking like where that bevel is getting straighter, and that's what I want. I'm not worried about if the bevel is correct or not, but I am doing, I don't know, 10 passes. I'm not even counting. I am still maintaining some type of a ratio where I'm doing like 10, 12 to 1, and then that's just to keep it easier to hone. So if you're used to honing or sharpening shears or chisels, it's very similar. You're not doing the same amount in one side and then the other one. So I understand this might take longer than expected, so we're gonna go fast forward. I like playing with the editing, so future me is about to edit this and go fast forward a little bit. All right, welcome back to normal speed. Sorry, if you're interested, if you're in Texas, Alstadt, it's a German brewery, and in Fredericksburg, German town here in, near San Antonio, Texas. So I'm gonna show you what we got right now. So what we got right now is we are getting that bevel nice and straight. We still have a little dip here from, see if I can do this, from right there to right there. It kind of curves in, and so it looked like we had like 3 bevels at some point. And so I started doing some circles. I don't know if you guys saw that. Hopefully you did. Keeping you awake, right? When I'm doing some circles, I'm not concerned about the edge at all. Right now, I'm just going at it. Not very precise or anything like that. All I want is to straighten that edge. See how we're doing. Always have a towel near you. Makes it so much easier. Alright. So we're looking better. I'm gonna do some more and then we're gonna fast forward so I don't bore you. But right now, if I wanted to, I can go ahead and start setting the bevel. Aesthetically, I wouldn't like that because it's not going to be, it's still going to have this round all the way almost to the edge. But right now I have enough meat, I would call it, there that I can make a nice shapeable edge. And I might do that for time's sake, I guess. But let's go a little bit more fast forward. Future me, let's go fast forward. All right, so we're back. So right now we're looking, I have a lot more space now. See if you guys see it. And you guys gonna be able to see it more once I start going up on the range, on the stones. Right now we have very dirty scratches, but this is gonna be a very nice shaving razor, and I think I can live with how the edge will look. Like I said, I'm not concerned too much about aesthetics when aesthetics when it comes to my razors, because it is my razor and I really don't care much about that. But so what I did there was just re-establishing, making sure that edge is nice and even, and you guys can see it looks a little ugly now. In other Kamisoris that I have grinded where the entire back has been the same. You see the same scratch pattern. You can do that if you want. I am not doing that. And in this one, they kind of rounded up a little with the tip. Not big deal. So now we're gonna set the bevel. See how we're looking. Alright, that's gonna take no time. Alright, so now we're gonna set the bevel. So right now, like I mentioned, in my experience, the metal on Kamisoris and Japanese steel is not as hard as, let's say, I don't know, TI French razor, like especially the new ones. Holy crap, some of those are coming really hard. So honing these are fairly easy and fairly fast. All right, so let's go ahead and start setting the bevel. I don't know if you guys noticed, I did rotate my stone at least once. Look at that. Make sure you clean that before your spouse sees what you're doing. A lot of you guys have noticed that I don't count when I'm doing honing on a straight razor. I go by feel, and a lot of that translates to how I do Kamisoris. I do kind of like a ratio, but I go with the gut, and so I don't stay in a strict pattern on counting the ratio. I'm sorry. I do 7-to-1, 10-to-1, back and forth, and then 1 or halves. You can see other people that have great videos on Kamisoris. One of them is GX6 Gun. He has great videos on Kamisoris, and just give it a nice little lap, just clean it up. And you know, I think he does like 7-to-1. Some people do 10-to-1. Some people do also like 10-to-2. So you have to find what works for you. I think people get too hang up with the numbers more than with the technique and what's actually going to happen. So for you guys that are new and do not understand what I'm talking about, I'm going to explain right now. So 7-to-1 will look like this with the stamps up. With most Kamisoris, some come lefties. Very rare if you find one. It's a keeper. So 7-to-1 will be 7 one way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. That will be 7-to-1. 10-to-1 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1. Right? You can do well, that slipped. You can do a bunch of different versions. I seen people that do like 10-to-1, and then when they go 5 and do the half C. It really you have to find the easy medium. When you go in this way, all you're doing is cleaning that burr. That's all you're doing. It's like some kitchen knives come in this way. Some Japanese kitchen knives. I'll show you. So for instance, this kitchen knife, it's not, you see how it has that bevel? And then this side is completely flat, and you see how it's, you know, you can see some wear. It's because when I'm in this kitchen, I'm going at it at an angle, and then I put her completely flat, and I'm just cleaning that burr, because when you're going in one side, you're pushing that burr to the other side. So that's basically all you're doing when you go into the other side. So there's not much you have to do on the other side. So let's keep going. I'm putting my hand here for reference. I don't have to. I'm trying to see if it wobbles. It doesn't. So I can do one hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like that, right? You guys can count it. I'm just going to go with my gut. I do somewhat of X pattern, I guess, on it, just because I'm used to it. And it's a good thing to do an X pattern if you have one that is not completely flat, the edge is not completely straight, and you don't want to take metal out of it, you just want to hone it. You can do that so you are rolling, kind of like with the smiley faces that we do the rolls. Alright, so I'm checking. It's grabbing. If you don't know what I just did there, check out my how-to videos on how to see if the bevel is set. Boom. Now I establish lines, perpendicular lines to the edge, and now we're gonna go to my 1000. Woo! Look at that. My 1K stone, which is a Chaucera 1000. Make sure we rinse this off because there's some dirty water there. We don't want any contaminants from the other stone. And I'm about to do something controversial. I'm about to raise a slurry. So on the beginning, when you're I raise slurry, doesn't matter what stone. Usually with that one I don't, but with the 1K and up I raise a slurry. It's just because I like to see like a guide as I'm honing. And the slurry being milky, I can see what my razor is doing, so I use it as a guide, right? Don't kill me, don't hate. Now, one thing that if you start honing Kamisoris a lot, some of them, this portion, this side, I'm not using the right terminology because not everybody knows them and it doesn't really freaking matter. But this side and this side has a different, a particular name to the side of the razor. It doesn't matter for this rate, for this. So if this side, and you see all the surface that is scratched, that has the wear, when you put this flat on a stone, especially the higher grit, you can create a vacuum. And then you are putting extra pressure because it's sucking it in. So sometimes it is easier to do smaller in strokes, especially with smaller stones. And the slurry helps you lubricate and it helps you glide better. So that's why I slurry. So one thing you can do is you can tilt a little bit so you can get that slurry action. See how it's on both sides. I'm getting a lot of see if I can. A lot of slurry just getting on top of the razor. Do not put a lot of pressure on your razor. Just let the stone do its thing. You can feel the difference as you cleaning those scratches from the early stone. It's literally just, it feels so smooth now. So as you start honing Kamisoris, I suggest you do stay with a ratio that works for you, 5:1, 7:1, 10:1, 12:1, or whatever. Maybe try like 7:1. Why am I recommending 7:1? Because some people do 5:1, some people do 10:1. So that's a very good happy medium, I guess. And then you can do, like, for instance, if you're doing 10:1, you can do this technique like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half C's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half C's, right? Let's see how we're looking. So right now the scratches from the chapter are disappearing and we are looking really nice. I can tell it's cleaning up fairly nice. I'm gonna go a little bit more on it and we're gonna go fast forward on this just because I just aesthetically I want all those scratches to go away, even if the edge is already good. So alright, welcome back to normal speed. Alright, we're looking good. We're looking good. If you care much about aesthetics, you will spend a lot of time dealing with this razor. If you know you're trying to sell it or whatever, and you don't use tape. If you use tape, check out GX6 Gun. He shows you how to tape these. I don't use tape, so I'm not gonna show you. But so right now, let's see how we're looking. All right, that edge is cutting hair already, right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't have a monitor, so but it's cutting in hair already. And we're gonna go and do some cleanup. So we're gonna make sure we're doing good. So we're gonna do nice and smooth strokes. Make sure that I'm hitting every single part. I never increase pressure, guys. I don't know if you guys have heard me talking about pressure, but check out my other videos on that. Alright guys, so that was basically, that was me doing a light restore, re-angling this razor, and then setting the bevel. How do I know that the bevel is set? You can do the thumb pat. It's grabbing in the entire thing. You can do the, see that? It's like latching to it, to my nail. I'm literally letting her go and it grabs. So bevel is set. After you do the nail thing, I like to do a couple passes. Make sure I'm cleaning it up good. That's just me. Alright. So there we have it. That is our first video. We reestablished the angle. We set the bevel. Next video we are going to hit it with the mid-level stones, and then we're gonna finish this razor, and we're gonna do that in Japanese stone. Stay tuned. I'll catch with you guys in the next episode. Check out my Etsy, check out my other content. Please make sure to subscribe. Like always, have a good one. Be nice. Leave your comments below. Hit me with a like button.